How's it, everyone? Mr. Pat from the Women, Boys, and Girls Club again. Welcome if you're watching these things. If not, notice the Boys and Girls Club has a website. I just saw a link for it this morning. It shows you all the stuff the club is offering, not just this, but like every basic mentor and adult guide you have there is creating some sort of way to reach out to you and provide you with cool programs. Mr. Tom's got some more music stuff. He's a great singer. Um, Everybody's got something. You can see the calendar of everything. For Mr. Pat, it's kind of hard. Power hour is what I do. I'm a retired math teacher, so I do the education stuff, and it's kind of at the very top of the calendar listings. Easy to miss, but if you click on that, if you look at all the things offered, you can see the whole channel. Subscribe if you like this. I concentrate on a little bit of, pointed algebra work, some basic skills, some interesting stuff, a little bit of crafts and art and geometry things too, along with straight up algebra. Not very long lessons, and I try to do some kind of music thing at the start and sometimes the finish of it. Keep it fun and interesting. Along that vein, yesterday I did a song I'd never done before. I'm going to do another one of those today, but I wanted to show you something on a ukulele. So I have a Cordoba ukulele, an electric one, so the kind you can plug into an amp. And it wasn't working good, and I was trying to figure out why, and I haven't, if you've known me at the club, you've known I'm taking apart my amps and whatnot, and it's nice to see that things aren't magical, that you can learn a lot, fix a lot of things yourself as long as you're careful, make sure the power is off and such. But just wanted you to see what it looks like. So this is the ukulele I'm going to play in a minute. And it has this, this thing here is where you put the cord in that goes to the amplifier. And then over here is what makes it a electric ukulele. So this is the pickup, or the preamp pickup. So inside here is the guts of what makes this be able to make cool noises out of a guitar amplifier. So I want to show you what that's like. So check this out. So I undid the 4 mounting screws, and it just comes out. And these wires right here are the ones that hook up to this thing over here. Whoops, where am I at? To this. So they run inside the ook and then hook up to this preamp. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect them. And then I have the preamp in my hand. There's a metal cover plate I took off. So I'm going to pull this out. Come on, baby. There you go. And then I can take this out to show you that's an amplifier. So this little circuit board is what does everything. Those 2 wires you saw plug right in here. Those are the jacks. Have to make a certain type of connection. This circuit board, people learn how to do all these. And that's where everything goes to make your volume and all that kind of good stuff. So it's no real magic. What this enabled me to do was see all the connections are intact. Everything is as it should be. So there's something malfunctioning in here, and I was able to send this information to the company, and they're going to honor it. And they're going to send me a new one of these that I can reinstall myself and for free fix my ukulele. So just to let you know, like when you come into the club, I can show you how to do this kind of thing too. We took apart my big guitar amp and fixed it up real good. A lot of stuff that's been turned in worked because we worked on them and reworked on them. All of us down there, and we can get you involved in that too. So it's cool to learn that kind of stuff instead of thinking it's just magic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this here. put it back over here. I think I'll go ahead and plug it back in so I don't lose the parts. I'm just going to put them in my ukulele loosely, and let's see if we can play a song. Kind of a... So I play music with some adult friends. Excuse me, that's my dog Buddy in the background. They're very established, very diverse, excellent musicians, and all of them have one thing in common. Their favorite group of all time is the group called the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr. From back in the 60s up to Paul McCartney is and Ringo Starr is still making music. McCartney regularly. The other two have unfortunately passed away. Anyhow, the Beatles are, a lot of people will say, the best band that there ever was. Extremely talented, fantastic harmony, singing and whatnot. And I don't usually play their songs. I'm not that type of singer and whatnot. So I'm going to give one a shot. And has a little harmonica introduction. Again, I just learned this. So it's way not polished. I'm going to try to play it on the ukulele and just have some fun. Because that's what I want to encourage you to do. No judgment, no fear. Have fun. See where it takes you. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Love, love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please, love me do. I said, love, love me do. You know that I love you. I'll always be true, so please, love me. Someone to love me, somebody new, someone to love. Someone like you. Love, love me too. You know that I love you. I always gonna be true. So please, love me do. All right, that's it. Fine. Okay, I'm gonna spin this. We're gonna do our algebra lesson for the day. Right back at quadratic functions with factoring. Spin them back, get them right there. Okay. So we did this yesterday. Again, you guys have all these things that you're. Let me readjust this a little bit. Sorry about that. Try to get a little of that shadow. You guys have everything at your fingertips. You can go through the various lessons if there's parts you missed. What we're going to do is quadratic. We learned about the parabolas, the curved line kind of graphing stuff that we have. And we learned about the negative b over 2a formula to find the various parts. Yesterday we were doing the zeros. That's the x-intercepts. So we want to know where these parabolas cross this. So if that is not familiar language to you, look back at the other files and you can other lessons, and you can catch up and then look at this when you have time to do it. Okay? So we're going to continue on just practicing this today with a couple more examples. So I'm just going to dive right in. Example 1, let's do this. Y equals x squared minus 8x plus 7. And that is our working formula. And what we're going to do is how we attack it. There's only so much room to work here. So we're going to do all the parts related to this first. We'll put that information on the graph, and we'll erase the board and then work on the factoring and the other zeros. Okay? So the first thing you got to do is figure out what this is. So let's do that. So I'll do it right over here. Okay? So x equals negative b. Before we do that, what we're going to do is put our a, b, and c values. I'll put them. A is the coefficient of the x squared term, 1. B, careful, it's not 8, it's negative 8. That's the coefficient of the linear, the x term. And C is this constant, just the plain old number, you can call it. So these are the bits of information we're working with. Okay. We're going to use these numbers in that formula. So negative b, put my negative sign, and notice b is negative already. So this is from the formula. The negative here is from the b value. Over 2a. So an opposite of a negative is a positive, so that's 8 over 2, which equals 4. So x equals 4. So I'm going to write that like I always do right up here. So you always want to go slow on that. You want to make sure you do this properly. It's worth stepping back, making sure you got the right numbers in the right places, multiplied, divided right, etc. And we did. Positive 4. Okay, so I'm going to erase this. So what that did was it gave us some stuff. It gave us the axis of symmetry. X equals 4. So what that tells us is we can come over here, find where x equals 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we make a vertical line right there. Smart, smart, smart to make it dotted. That's our axis of symmetry. Okay. The other thing it gives us is part of the vertex. The vertex has an x and a y. This says x equals 4, so that means that is the x coordinate of our vertex. We don't know the y yet. And we're going to find it out right now. So what we do is we take this equation and we want to know y when x is 4. So we want to know if I put a 4 in here for the x, what y comes out. So y equals, I put my 4 wherever I see an x. So I put that value, x equals 4, wherever I see an x here. Make sure you do this right. 4 times 4 is 16. Minus 32 plus 7. That's what y equals. 16 minus 32 is negative 16. So y equals negative 9. Yep. So that is my y coordinate of my vertex. I knew my x was 4. When I plug that in, I get negative 9 for y. So that means I can come over here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right there is my vertex point. That's the bottom of the U, the bottom of the parabola. Okay, so far so good. Okay, the last thing we get here is the y-intercept. And I'm going to remind you, when the y-intercept is on the y-axis, the y-intercept is somewhere on this axis. Every point on this axis, you don't go to the right, you don't go to the left, so x is 0. If I put a 0 up here for x, that 0 minus 8 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is nothing. All I get is 7. So what we learned over the last few lessons is whatever your c value is, your c value is the y-intercept. So positive 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's right up here. So you could draw your thing there. Okay, don't forget, if this is a mirror, the axis of symmetry, left, right, balance. So since this point is 4 away here, there has to be another point 4 away here, so that it's balanced. And we're going to go one more step on this, though. This time we are going to do something else, same thing we did yesterday. This is good. We're going to make it even better. We're going to find the x-intercepts, which they call the zeros. So I'm erasing all of this. I put it to use. Yeah, folder paper and room, that's fine. I don't, so I'm going to do that. So every time you have an x-intercept, you're on this axis, you don't go up or down, so your y value is 0. So we start by making y equal 0. So that looks like a daunting task to solve that, but it's not. There's two ways to do it. The way we're going to show it today, I handpicked this, is you're going to factor. Remember, you're doing your factoring trinomials, so you're going to rewrite that right side. You're going to factor it into two binomials. And what we learned was x squared. Again, I watched you at the club during power hour. There's different ways your teachers are showing you how. I'll show you the way I do it. I'm going to erase this 4 here too. Okay. The two numbers that go there have to multiply to give you 7 and combine to this somehow. So for 7, the only way you can do is 1 and 7. So they have to be like that. One of them's got to be 1, one of them's got to be 7. Now you have to pay attention. It's got to multiply to give you positive 7, but add to give you negative 8, and that's easily achieved. If you had it like this, that would be wrong, because you would have a negative 1 times a positive 7 would be negative 7. If you had it like this, that would be wrong for the same reason. Okay. If you had it like this, it would be positive 7, but you couldn't come up with negative 8. So your solution, my friends, is that right there. So a negative times a negative is positive. That's negative 1x. That's negative 7x. That combines to negative 8x. You in there, bro. It's exactly what you want. So you have factored. Now, if you did this lesson in 8th grade, what you do next is solve. Principle of zero products, you now go x minus 1 is 0. Easily solved. X is 1. That's one of your answers. And that right there is your other. So I'm going to do this in orange. So these right here are what they call the zeros of the equation, because you set y equal to 0 to find them. They're where that parabola crosses the x-axis. It'll tell you a couple things. When you plot those, you find positive 1 and positive 7. So here's positive 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you did it right, these two things should be spaced equally apart, and they are. So you did it. That's perfect. Okay? So we're going to finish this by drawing our parabola. So we're going to go down here through this stuff. Up through here. That's actually pretty good. These things, that's one of the hardest parts to do in all this, is draw a nice parabola. They're not V's, they're U's, and it's hard to get that because we're not machines. But that's it. You got the axis splitting it in the middle. The vertex is the lowermost point. The y-intercept and its balance point over here. And the two solutions, zeros, the x-intercepts. And that's it. So that's how you go about doing this. During the summer, we're going to have some Zoom classes you can join, and we'll teach you, we'll give you practice, answer questions, whatnot. But this is on-point Algebra 1. You know, I taught algebra for many years over at KIS, so this is straight from that curriculum. So you should let yourself branch out a little bit, try it, do what you can do, even if you never did it before, try it. You can always go online and get problems and whatnot. Anyhow, all right, so that was it. You heard a little bit of my hack at a Beatles song that I've never played until today. Then you saw some serious algebra right there, quadratic functions. You're going to trip out tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow I'll do a little bit of square root work first. Then on the other end of that, we're going to dive into something called the quadratic formula. And it's pretty berserk. It looks, let me show you the board here in a minute. Here's the formula you're going to be working with in a couple days. Negative b over 2a's got nothing to do with this. It's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And believe it or not, you're going to use that to find answers. What you basically use it for is you're basically going to use this to find those points when there's something you can't factor. Because there's many that you can't factor, so this allows you to have another formula. It's called the quadratic formula. It's scary as heck looking, but if you go through the process with me or with your teacher, it won't be that bad at all. It'll just be work. Okay? All right, spin this back. Grab an ukulele, have some fun. I could do that all day long. I better stop before I lose you guys, okay? All right, love you. You know, we really care about you. We want to reach out and say when I say love me do and all that, we're letting you know it's all happening. We're with you. You're not alone. We're going to be together, working together soon. You'll be playing with your friends more. Got to stay safe. Got to listen to people. Continue to take care. Boys and Girls Club cares about you, and we're looking forward to seeing you again. Okay? Mr. Pat, hello, One Word Boys and Girls Club. Aloha.